Hello all, Old Geek here, and I have on my screen another issue of The Dragon from September 1979, Volume 4, Number 3. This is issue number 29. You know what happens here. I page through these and I give my worthless opinions, so let's get started. Um, the cover. Right, let's take a look at the cover in its entirety. Oh, look! Oh, hey, Wormy's back. Good. Good to see you back, Wormy. Which of the useless comic strips are you going to replace? Because you're better than they are. All right, this cover. I don't know what to make of it. At first glance, it looks like something from a biology textbook. I thought this might be lungs or something. I don't know. I don't know. It looks like it's a naked figure of some sort with all sorts of wispy stuff hanging off her. Because it look, yeah, I think that's female. Don't know. Don't know. I wouldn't buy a biology textbook from a gaming shop, so it wouldn't appeal to me. I don't think. Is that meant to be the moon up there? Are these meant to? I don't know. I give up. I don't get that one. Let's go past a few adverts, and we are at the Dragon Rumbles. Features of the Gods, Fantasy Smith's Notebook, Sorcerer's Scroll, Curses, Giants in the Earth, Bazaar of the Bizarre, Dragon's Bestiary. Then we've got variants, Source of the Nile, flow charts, inns and taverns, air war, North Vietnam, smaller than man-sized weapons table, Mythos of Oceania, okay, strain and spellcasting, trained animals in D&D, aging in D&D, non-player characters have feelings too. There's a lot of D&D in this one. Could it be because the Dungeon Master's Guide has just hit? We shall see. Then we've got rewarding heroism in D&D, the Dragon's Augury, short takes and first impressions, adventures in the improbable, Wormy, anatomy of an SCA battle, a sleep war, origins of the Norse pantheon. I like the look of this edition. Don't judge a magazine by its cover because this one looks like it could be good. Right. Yep, 50 something pages again. 52. Wormy's on page 52. Is Wormy on the last page? You scroll down. There's the back cover. And there's Wormy. The weird world of Wormy recapped. Okay, so it's 54 pages with those back cover and adverts. So a big issue. Let's get cracking. Divine Right from TSR Games, a fantasy board game for 2 to 6 players aged 12 to adult. Never heard of it. Convention schedule. Where are these conventions? New York, West Virginia, OH. Ohio? I'd have thought it should be. Um, California, Illinois, Michigan. And here's a bigger one for RockCon 5, which is that Illinois one. $2.50 for both days. Yeah. Did you have any? Did you have a little difficulty making out the drawing of the slinger in last month's bestiary? So did we. Remind us to tell a printer to increase screen density 20%, will you? That's not a bad little piece of art. I want to look back now and see how bad the art was they're moaning about. What's this? What's the name of this first thing? Of the Gods. Okay, I had to go back to the index to table of contents to find out what this was about. I was talking about divine intervention. Okay. I'm not going to read the article, but my approach to divine intervention is it could happen if it matters enough, and if the characters don't abuse it. If it's something that you as the DM believe a deity would deem as being important, then by all means let it happen, but don't let them abuse it. Naff piece of art. Sorry, Mr. Sutherland, that's pretty awful. Um, this is portfolios. Relations. Oh, it's right. This is a piece on creating pantheons. I can see why it's in here. I don't particularly like the idea of statting deities, so I really wouldn't bother. But hey ho, hey ho. I've created my own pantheons, but the deities don't have stats. No, no. Source. I don't know anything about Source of the Nile. Is this to help you play it? Probably. Is that because it's a bit complicated? Don't know. Fantasy Smith's Notebook. An ounce of preparation is worth a ton of paint. Oh, this is that. This carries over from the previous issue where they were talking about making and adapting miniatures. So this is how you prepare for painting. Yeah. Scrape those sticky outy bits off and all that sort of stuff. It's all common sense. Common sense by the looks of things. Right, moving on. It's a big issue, so I'm not going to dwell too much on adverts. From the Sorcerer's Scroll, the half ogre smiting him hip and thigh. I know half-breed races of various types are popular in various settings, like Dark Sun, for example. I get it. I get it. I'm quite happy to stick with half orc, half elf. That's it. That's it. That's fine. That's fine. I am happy to assume that other races can't crossbreed because I don't know, it just makes things more simple. Just makes things more simple. Plus, how many players go for exotic races or exotic race combinations aiming to try and grab a few extra bonuses, and they're not willing to role play the consequences of likely being a pariah, being ostracized. So yeah, I prefer to keep it all quite simple in my games. So no, I wouldn't have half ogres. Ogres eat humans, they don't breed with them. Curses never even get ahead. A curse, as defined by the player's handbook, is either the reverse of the first level clerical spell Bless, or the reverse of the third level Remove Curse. Obviously, two variants of a curse with different capabilities. And I think interesting curses are just that, interesting. You can make them flavourful. They can sometimes be comical, but don't overdo that. It can be a really, really good plot hook to create an adventure whereby a character is trying to rid themselves of a curse. And curses that develop over time as well, but give them Give them flavour, give them meaning. Don't just go, ha ha, you're cursed, because that's crap. Of the gods, so it's more of the god stuff. Yes, they're splitting things up, aren't they? As usual. Of the gods continues. I'm going to give some examples here. So we've got Lemus, the protector, the god of animals. Telesa, Telesm, Trion. When you create a pantheon of gods, I think keeping it simple or keeping it thematic is most important. Both Greyhawk and Forgotten Realms, in my opinion, went a little bit too far with the number of gods. And yes, you can give you options for creating lore and infighting and all that sort of stuff. But I prefer to keep gods in the background, but definitely there. But keep them simple and almost make them not so much relatable, but make them organic with the world. I mean, I like the idea of the Celtic three, and in one of my game worlds, I created one utterly neutral male god, and then two female gods, each with three aspects, and those were the only gods in the world. But you had the idea of the three, the maiden, the mother, and the crone, for example. That was how I split one of the female gods up, and it gave enough to work with. So, anyway, moving on, and see they're all statted with fighting ability. My friends wanted to fight everything in deities and demigods when they were 13 or 14. I hope most of us have grown up beyond that now. I think it's a bit of a waste of space, to be honest, all of this. Bit of a waste of space. Out on a limb, this is the letters page. Nerds fighting. I remember a few issues back, Tim Kask saying about if you want us to do a letters page, then you need to write to us. So clearly people have responded to that. People have gone, ha ha, nash, nash, nash. Here we go. Good, good. And quite a big letters page. A Lovecraft one as well. Ooh, I'll come back and read that. Giants in the Earth. This is classic heroes from fiction and literature, as the title says there. And it's a lot of, I mean, I haven't read a lot of this literature, so I don't know how authentic it is. But again, you're giving stats to. Yeah, it's another thing we did when we were kids. What level do you think Aragorn would be? Then arguing over Gandalf based on what he does in the book. I still see it now. People see people claim Gandalf was level 5 or level 6 now. Grown adults claiming that. Gandalf was a god, a demigod. And he had to sort of let the mortals deal with it. He was there for guidance more than anything. Stepped in when necessary, but you didn't see all of his power in The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings, because it was up to the mortals to deal with their issues. Anyway, Shadowjack. See, I don't know I don't know that Jack Vance is Yukunu, the laughing magician. Rewarding heroism in D&D. What's this about? Self-sacrificing deeds, such as holding the battle line while the other characters retreat. opening all doors, being the first to investigate anything, offering oneself as prisoner if the rest of the party is let free. It often results in a death. Yeah, we can do. This is where something that there are a few things from modern versions of D&D that I don't mind, and the idea of a D&D, the idea of a DM awarding inspiration for good role playing, often at the detriment of mechanical gain, often at the risk of your own character. Um, it is worth rewarding, and having something like inspiration, where you give someone a bonus on a d20 roll, it's not a bad idea if used correctly, used sparingly, but used to reward authentic play. So I don't disagree. And yeah, you can give out XP for it. Give out bonus XP for it. Why not? Codifying it. I quite like the way 5e did it, but I'll just leave it up to the DM. And DMs just be sensible with things like this. It can take practice to learn when to give a bonus and how much, but do it because it encourages good play. Inns and taverns. They frequently appear in Dungeons and Dragons games because they're the ideal starting point for a lot of adventures. I know it's considered to be a bit of a trope, but so what? Where are people most loose-lipped? Where do rumours spread? Where do people get together when there's no other forms of entertainment? Well, I suppose some cities have got other forms of entertainment, but in most towns and villages it will be the local tavern. So that's where people get to talk, tell stories, sing, roll dice, all that sort of stuff. And you hear the rumours. And you take it from there. So it is a natural place to start. Nice bit of Otis. People drinking away there, just enjoying themselves. Let the hair down. Food prices, okay. Let the food prices fit your own setting. No need to codify this. Yeah, make suggestions. No need to codify it all. And you can break it down along the lines of hearty meal, medium meal, light meal, breakfast, good ale, average ale, small beer, wine, spirits. But you don't have massive differences between them. It just adds a bit of authenticity. What, for example, is a light meal? It could be a chunk of bread and soup. A medium meal, a bowl of stew and a chunk of bread. A hearty meal, a leg of meat, bread, gravy, roast vegetables, and a bowl of stew on the side. Yeah. Making me hungry. I think I'm going to make a casserole for tea tonight. So, the tribes of Crane. Don't know what. Oh, it's an advert. It's an advert. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. More adverts. More adverts. Air War, North Vietnam. Obviously, it's 1979. Vietnam is still fresh in the American mind at this point. Probably a bit of a sore topic in some people's minds, but people want to understand why, what happened, and everything. So, yeah, it's a natural focal point for wargamers. It doesn't have as much interest to us over here in the UK because we weren't involved. But I mean, most of us have still watched films like Deer Hunter, Platoon, things like that. So yeah, we are aware. We are aware of what happened, but I think there's a bit more interest for us when it comes to World War One, World War Two, and often going back further. Agincourt, Bosworth Field. those sort of battles. Smaller than man-sized weapons table. Okay, this is something I quite like. I like variability in weapons. I like the idea that different races have their own size weapons. I'm assuming this is a gnomish halberd. A goblin dagger. What's a poignard? Poignard. Poignard. To look that up. So yeah, why not? It does give you a little bit of a nice bit of variation, but don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. I mean, this great axe. What's this? 4d4? Is that one of them stupid big double-headed axes that you really wouldn't fight with because it's a waste, imbalanced? You don't want to fight with a weapon that is too heavy. There's a waste of metal on there. Anyway, it wasn't a bardiche. More like what we imagine a great axe to be. Still 44. It's excessive. It's excessive. Even a gnome-sized one doing 2d6. Yeah, no. That was almost my gnomish voice then. Anatomy of an SCA battle as Sleep War. Society for Creative Anachronism. Keep going. Just keep. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. Origins of the Norse pantheon. This is the sort of thing I would like to sit and read. Let's talk about flavour. The Norse pantheon has plenty of flavour. Oh yes, some of the greatest heroes and most fearsome monsters. The mythos of Oceania. See, I don't know a lot about that part of the world in terms of the mythology. I know about the Aboriginal dream time and that sort of thing, but in terms of other stuff, I don't know anything about it. Big Wrong and Little Wrong. I like their names, but again, this article it's good to have the names to give you ideas, but it's desperately short on description. Desperately short on description. It's like throwing too many things in and not going into enough detail. Strain and spellcasting. What? Editor says this is the first spell point system or facsimile thereof that I've ever liked. It makes magic users even weaker than they already are. Okay, I'm going to skip straight past it. I like how magic users are in old school games. You protect the magic user at low levels. That is your job as a party, because you are investing in that character's power in its later adventuring. The mage is the one who gets access to the best magical items, and by the time they get to level 4, 5, 6, they're still okay. They're still not melee combatants, but the things they can do with some of their spells grow exponentially. But they're limited by the Vancian spell system. And it's unfashionable to say this, but I like it. I think it works. So, yeah, I have no issue with the power curve of magic users as they were in basic and AD&D, because it works. And if you're not patient enough to play one, fair play. Other classes to play. Trained animals in D&D. Lots of people have done this. Again, it's some of these articles appear to be codifying things for codifying sake, filling in things that DM can just hand wave. I get that the wargaming roots of the hobby, there are people who want those rules, but look at what third edition became with its rule for everything. You don't need it, but get the flavour. Get the flavour, um, and talk about what would need to be done to train a particular species, but giving them all stats like they've done at the moment, it's a little bit too gamist for me. Aging in D&D? It's in the Dungeon Master's Guide. That's enough. That's enough. There's no need for this little article here. Adventures in the Improbable. I'm guessing that's... is it fiction? Non-player characters have feelings too. Again, we've got all that in the Dungeon Master's Guide. Are they trying to cram all these articles in now to get them out the way? Knowing that the DMG covers all of it as well? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I like random tables to create NPCs. It makes the DM think, but it also can create opportunities for unusual moments. So just get the balance right with them. Now, don't worry about what it says on your shirt. Just charge when I say charge. Cannon fodder. Yes, boss. He looks like he probably couldn't read what's on his shirt. I don't know what it says. It's upside down, boss. Bizarre the Bizarre. Ring of the Necromancer. Working design for Heward's Mystical Organ. Again, did it go in the Dungeon Master's Guide as this? Don't know. Don't know. Yeah, it looks a bit daft. But then daft can be fun. Advert. Report on Origins 79. Hope you're right, and this is the entrance to the dungeon, or we're going to look pretty silly. The Tunnel of Love. Which was a hit for Funboy 3 in about 1981, 82, I'm going to say, not sure. About then. I know Dire Straits is Uncle Tunnel of Love as well. Dragon's Augury. Game review. Reich. Book review. Panzer Collars. Game review. Raiders and Traders. Book review. Desert Tracks. Book review. What? Kubelwagens. I have no idea what a Kubelwagen is. Manfred, you would know. Tolkien quiz book. Keeping on going, keeping on going. Dragon's Bestiary, Whiz Bang Beetles. Sorry for the pause. I think my facial expression gave away what my initial impression of those was. Let's have a look at Wormy. Oh, this is a recap of Wormy from previous issues. Okay, if you've forgotten what's happened in Wormy, here's your recap, and then there's the bit at the bottom. Shame it's not a new Wormy, but hey ho, good to have a recap. Welcome back. And there we go. I quite like the artwork for the Best of the Dragon. I think that's quite nice. That would make me think, yeah, I'll have a look at that. And there we are. There it's finished. Okay. Right. Looking back, you know how positive I was at the start of this issue when I saw all this D&D stuff in there. I thought, wait, a lot of it felt like filler. It felt to me as if they'd got a number of articles that had just been sort of sat there on the mantelpiece, gathering dust. We'll squeeze it in somewhere. We'll squeeze it in somewhere. And now that the Dungeon Master's Guide has gone, I'm here. They're like, right, let's get all these out, and hopefully nobody notices, and we'll start afresh. Because there was a lot of stuff in there that was fluff, that felt unnecessary. There were some things in there which will probably be quite good to go back and read through. The curses bit, for example. Obviously, the Wormy catch-up is a good idea. There's some good ideas in there, reminding you of things like giving flavour to non-player characters. But again, that's in the Dungeon Master's Guide. Strain and spellcasting, no need. Inns and taverns, yeah, why not? Smaller than man-sized weapons table, an interesting little diversion. Trained animals, I think a little more descriptive would have been better than game mechanics, but hey-ho. It wasn't a terrible issue. The origins of the Norse pantheon will make for an interesting read. I'm sure there was something else as well that I remembered spotting. Rewarding heroism, good idea, good idea. So it's not a terrible issue, but it's not as good as I thought it was going to be. A little bit too much filler. Anyway, I've been the Old Geek. Hope you've enjoyed this read through. See you in the next one.